It's the Weather Xtreme video. This is the morning edition for Thursday, March 30th. I'm James Spann. A complex severe weather threat for Alabama later today and tonight. Another chance of strong storms Monday of next week. Another one Wednesday of next week. It's the tornado season. What can you say? So let's go in there and see if we can answer your questions. We'll start with the large-scale look across the country this morning. And needless to say, the synoptic pattern favors some very active storms. A very deep upper trough is west of the state. It's produced a lot of convection in recent days, and that was a radar this morning at about 5 o'clock. And you can see a fairly large rain mass from around Carthage and Philadelphia, Mississippi, down to New Orleans and Baton Rouge. And the question is, as that progresses through Alabama later today, what will that have to do with our severe weather threat later? Will that reduce or block the inflow, the warm air advection from the south? Will it create a more stable atmosphere this afternoon and this evening, reducing the severe weather threat? We'll watch things unfold carefully, obviously, with radar trends today. Numbers are mostly in the 60s early this morning. We'll expect a high in the 70s today, no 80s. The one thing, we'll have a lot of clouds around today. I don't think we see much in the way of sun. And, of course, with a limited amount of low-level heating, that might reduce the severe weather threat. Around the nation, a little colder back behind the system, not too bad for late March. This is the watch warning map around the nation this morning. Some wind issues out west and winter storm issues up in the northeastern states. But other than that, things are pretty quiet here for now. But later today, things should start to shake and bake a little bit. We have a risk of severe weather from places like New Orleans, Mobile, Panama City Beach, all the way up to Indianapolis. Look at the tornado probabilities, and you can see the 10% circle runs from central Mississippi, northwest Alabama, all the way up to southern Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, and a 5% ring all the way down to the Gulf Coast. So this is the current convective outlook for Alabama. And we should mention here the moderate risk has been taken out, which I think is a good call. There is an enhanced risk over northwest Alabama, basically west of a line from near Madison down to about Carbon Hill, Fayette, and Reform. The rest of the state is in the standard Category 2 slight risk. The area is in yellow, and we'll talk about the specific threats and the timing here in a minute. This is tomorrow, a marginal risk well to the east, a new marginal risk west of the state. This is day 3, Saturday. We have a marginal risk from Texas up to Kansas, and on day 4, which is Sunday, there's a risk of severe weather west of the state over Louisiana, southeastern Texas, up into West Mississippi. No outlook for day 5. No severe weather defined on Monday. And again, you know the deal. We need to get past this event later today and tonight before we can focus on Monday. Here's the rain for the next 7 days, and this is good. We need it. Rain amounts across the state in the really 2 to 6 inch range. And this is valid through Thursday morning of next week, so this accounts for the rain with this event today and tonight, the rain Monday, and the rain Wednesday of next week. So let's dig in here and see if we can see what's going on here. This is the GFS, the 06Z run at 1 o'clock this afternoon. And again, synoptically speaking, it looks like a severe weather setup. You can see the deep trough to the west. The surface low is just under 1,000 millibars, just east of St. Louis at 1 o'clock. So that's the big picture, but the true severity, the magnitude of a severe weather threat is going to be determined by the mesoscale. Let's look at the HRB model. This is at 12 noon today, 17Z, and you can see some light rain just south of Interstate 20, but nothing too overwhelming. The HRB kind of dissipates that big mass of rain over Mississippi. Now, this is 6 o'clock this evening. You can see the line of severe storms, strong to severe storms cranking up through Mississippi and the northwestern corner of Alabama. But again, there is some convection south of here over south and southwest Alabama that might disrupt the warm air and the moist air advection process into the line of strong to severe storms. And then by 9 o'clock tonight, strong to severe storms, Huntsville approaching down to Cullman and Gordo, approaching Tuscaloosa. But again, we note that massive rain and storms down in southeast Alabama. So radar trends will be very important to watch today to see if that mass down to the south will have an impact on the severity of the storms over the northern half of the state. Let me check some of the severe weather parameters. First off, the instability, and these numbers aren't that overwhelming for late March. This is the surface-based CAPE coming off the herd this evening at 7 o'clock. About 1,000 joules per kilogram, and that's sufficient for severe weather. You typically want to see maybe a little higher values with an event this time of the year. This is the low-level jet at 850, and again, the numbers have come down from what we saw yesterday, 40 to 50 knots, about 5,000 feet off the ground. This is the SRH, the storm relative helicity values, and again, they're moderate. There could be some rotating updrafts. And this is the STP. Generally speaking, the values are under 1 unit. And finally, the updraft helicity product suggesting a better chance of any rotating updrafts, maybe rotating storms over that northwestern corner of the state within the enhanced risk. And a forecast sounding, this is for Marion County this evening at 7 o'clock off the HUR, and it's not as robust as what we saw yesterday. In fact, the possible hazard type is marginal severe. You can see there's just not much directional shear now on this sounding, and the hodograph is not as curved as it was yesterday. So the bottom line is, please understand, while the magnitude of the threat doesn't look as great, it is clearly important to point out here that, yes, there is a risk of severe storms statewide. Storms that form later today and tonight could produce hail, strong winds, and there is still the chance of a few isolated tornadoes. The highest tornado threat would be in the enhanced risk area, generally west of a line from Madison down to Reform. But understand, the weather's going to do what it's going to do. The weather doesn't read these maps or look at these lines. This is simply a guideline. And in terms of the timing, we have 5 to 9 o'clock for west and northwest Alabama, 7 to 11, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden, then Montgomery, Auburn, Opelika, 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. So just keep an eye on the blog and watch the radar, and we'll have updates throughout the day and tonight, of course. So this is tomorrow. Everything is out of here. The sky should be sunny. The high will be in the 70s. A beautiful day as we're dry-slotted. Saturday, delightful day, bright sunny weather. The low will probably be in the upper 40s, but the high will be close to 80. It's almost like you need a jacket early in the day, but later in the day it'll be very warm. And our new system forms to the west as the wave train keeps cranking them out. This is Sunday. Probably start to see an increase in clouds. The day will likely be dry. The high Sunday should be back in the upper 70s, and again, maybe around 80, but rain just to the west. And this is Sunday night at midnight, or 1 a.m. Monday, just after midnight. Rain begins to move in here. The surface low is over central Louisiana, and then Monday at 1 p.m., we have a 999 millibar low that's southwest of Tuscaloosa. And if this were to verify, just be a lot of rain on Monday. The issue would be heavy rain instead of severe weather, the better severe weather opportunities down around the Gulf Coast. But we've seen all kinds of solutions, and it's just too early to call. Tuesday, we're dry and pleasant. High should be in the 70s. We note that new surface low over Kansas. And here we go Wednesday. Surface low is approaching Chicago under 1,000 millibars. And then by Wednesday night, a band of showers and storms comes in here, and that could be strong to severe. In a week from today, Thursday, the 6th of April, troughing over the east, and we are in a dry slot. So wave after wave after wave coming through the old wave train. Here's the end of the forecast period, Saturday, April 8th, troughing over the eastern U.S. And again, maybe some light rain, but that doesn't look anything impressive there. Get the numbers through mid-April. Looking for that late season freeze or frost possibility, not showing up here coming off the European. Highs across the board mostly in the 60s and the 70s. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video this morning. We'll have notes in the blog. If we can, we'll crank out a video this afternoon. The weather might be too active for that, but again, just watch the blog for updates. And if you can, catch us this evening on ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.